Next up, we have Barksdale Resources. Company was here in May, and a lot of things have changed actually in the last few months, so it's fantastic timing for an update because the company's finally drilling. I'm looking forward to welcoming on stage Rick Trotman, who I don't see here yet, but I've seen him at the conference. Oh, you were standing right underneath the light because I've seen Terry Ann. Please join me on stage. Really looking forward to that update on the drill program in Arizona. Thank you so much, Rick. Go ahead.
Good to see you, bud.
Likewise.
Yeah, these bright lights
I was
are
looking
intense,
right at the
aren't
lights.
they?
You were standing right in the shadow.
Yeah. All right. This will take me a second to get used to. Welcome. Thanks for coming to this presentation. As Kai mentioned, my name is Rick Trotman. I am the president and CEO of Barksdale Resources, and we do have a lot of things going on. So we are a base metal exploration company listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange. I will be making some forward-looking statements, so please do your homework as you would with any other mining investment. All right, what does Barksdale have? Why would you pay attention to us? Well, we have a couple of different projects in our portfolio that we think can be meaningful. The biggest project, the most important, the value driver for us is the Sunnyside Project within the Patagonia mining district in southern Arizona. That's where we are currently drilling with 2 drill rigs. It's part of a much larger system that expands not only our project, but onto the other side of the fence where a company called South 32 is developing a very large-scale mine. And it's a very well-endowed area. So you can see some of the historic carbonate replacement, massive sulfide intercepts here on the slide that were drilled on our property. It gives you an idea as to what we are looking to drill as our program continues. The other kind of project that we have in our back pocket is the San Javier Copper IOGC project in Sonora, Mexico. It's a project that we're not spending a lot of capital on from a drilling standpoint, but we are advancing it from an economic standpoint, wrapping up a PEA. I have the draft in my computer that I've been reviewing, and hopefully we'll have that out to the market here shortly. Before I get into the projects, just may as well touch on the capital structure of the company. We have roughly 81 million shares outstanding, fully diluted around 95 million. Our share price, I think, closed at 58 yesterday, so that would give us a market cap of roughly 50 million Canadian dollars. We have a couple $1,000,000 in the bank, and probably the most notable thing to talk about on this slide are our shareholders who have been quite supportive with us for the past couple of years. As Kai has probably heard many, many times, as if I talked over the years, we've been in this long permitting process. We had some legal challenges. We've gotten through all of that, and now we're drilling. These are the folks that have really helped pave the way for that work. They include Tech Resources, who's sitting at a little less than 10%, Crescat Capital, who has a little over 10%, US Global, Eric Sprott, Commodities Discover Funds. There's a whole bunch of folks that have been supporting us for a very long time. I would say the top 20 to 30 shareholders control at least 50 to 60% of the stock. Share price performance, this for some reason is a dated chart. We're sitting around 58 today. So as you could see, we had a bit of a run up earlier in the year. That's when we received our permits. The haircut that we received immediately thereafter was a lawsuit that was lodged by some environmental groups, not against us, but against the agency that gave us our permits. We were successful in fighting off the injunction there, and the judge allowed us to initiate our drill program, which happened in late September. We are covered by Cormark Securities on the research side, and they do have a target price on us of $1.25 Canadian. I'm not going to go through this exhaustive list of team members, but rest assured that we have folks on the team that have decades of experience in their specific fields of work. About me, I am a geologist by background. Actually, Morgan's talk earlier had the New Moly discussion there. I actually worked at Resource Capital Funds for a long time in New Moly, formerly Avanti. That was one of my projects. I put a lot of money into that molybdenum play. Too much, some would say. Okay, here's the good stuff. Where are we working? So our main focus is the Patagonia district of southern Arizona. You can see is that top star. That's just north of the border with Mexico. It's a collection of properties. And then our San Javier project is in Sonora, Mexico, across the border, roughly 5 hours drive away. So in the Patagonia mining district, if we zoom in, you'll see a collection of dark blue properties. These are the properties that we control. You'll also notice a light gray color. These are the properties that are controlled by South 32. They, of course, are a very large multinational mining company, I think 15 billion some odd market cap. And they acquired this property through the acquisition of Arizona Mining in 2018 for $2.1 billion Canadian. The reason they did so is the corner of our Sunnyside property and their Hermosa property, there was a very large discovery by Arizona Mining. If I zoom in, you'll see that darker gray outline just to the right of the blue property. That's the footprint of the Taylor deposit. It's one of the world's largest carbonate replacement deposits. It's been drilled up to our property boundary, and it is roughly 153 million ton deposit. It's got a ton of silver in it and a lot of lead zinc. It's an undeveloped, from an undeveloped standpoint, it's a top 10 in the lead zinc as well as a top 10 in undeveloped silver globally. You'll also notice a couple of black dots and lines on our side of the property. Those were the historic drill holes that I consider to be the actual discovery holes that were drilled by ASARCO in the early 1980s. And they included 17 meters of 17% lead zinc, 1.3% copper, and a couple 100 grams silver. These were very robust assays, and they are very well endowed, and it would be as good, if not better, than a lot of the higher grade intercepts that were encountered on the Arizona mining side, now the South 32 side. These are some of the holes that we are looking to follow up on in our current drilling program. Just to give you that high-level geologic view, here is kind of a cartoon showing what the system looks like. You'll notice a light blue line in the center of the diagram. That's the property boundary. Everything on the left is Barksdale, including that very large blue blob, which is a porphyry copper deposit called the Sunnyside porphyry. And then you'll also notice a series of red bodies that kind of jut off to the north and to the east. That's the Taylor Manto system. We believe that the Sunnyside porphyry was the heat source that caused the formation of these accessory manto deposits off to the east. We also believe that that gap between the edge of the porphyry and the property boundary with South 32 is a fertile and ripe environment for the discovery of the rest of that system. And that's where we're currently drilling. You'll notice that there's a vertical hole there, TSX.V. That was the drill hole that encountered significant mineralization historically. We're currently drilling on that same drill pad. It would actually give us an intercept that's about 60 meters into the slide, just off to the north. And we're looking to get that second pierce point into the system so that we can start tracing it back further to the west. And this kilometer scale gap is obviously, it's three-dimensional. So when you look around the porphyry itself, both to the north and to the south, wherever you have those prospective carbonate rocks adjacent to the porphyry, you have the potential to build not only skarn, but these CRD-style mineralized zones. And so it's a multiple square kilometer type target that we're looking at. This is a bit more of a technically focused map, albeit still simplified. You'll see here the outline of that Sunnyside porphyry in red, as well as a couple of the target zones that we're drilling, including the boundary zone, which extends from the center of the property back to the west, and the South Canyon zone, which is in that shaded green color. It's a little further to the south. That's where our two drill rigs are currently turning. The drill program is advancing. We're going a bit slower than I expected. We've got a diatreme system that we're drilling through, and it's been a bit of a bear, but we're getting through it. And so we'll be down to the mineralized areas, or our targeted mineralized areas here shortly. Here is another cartoon of the boundary area. Again, Sunnyside Porphyry is off to the west. This shows a couple of the intercepts that were drilled in that body historically, 400 meters of 0.36. It's fairly typical of the grades encountered in that porphyry, but again, it's these accessory deposits that are off to the side of the porphyry that are caused by the heat and that mineralized fluid system that was spurred by the porphyry being in place. That's what we're really looking for. And so, we're drilling for these skarn and CRD zones off to the side. When I first got to the company roughly 6 years ago now, this is what it looked like from an aerial view. We have the stippled gray property. The clear property is the Hermosa next door. As you can tell, Arizona Mining had started clearing off some of the land. They have about 500 acres of patented mining claims, which allows them to push development ahead quite quickly, whereas we're on US Forest Service ground, so it took us 4.5 years to get a bloody drilling permit. So if you look at the same place these days, there's several underground adits, a whole series of development infrastructure that has gone in. They're sinking 2 shafts next door. They have a water treatment plant that's up and running. They're dewatering the ore body now. So significant amount of progress next door. They've invested billions of dollars in this, and they're pushing it forward. Ultimately, that's a great thing to have, as your neighbor. It's a group that is well regarded and well capitalized. So from our standpoint, drilling the rest of the ore body, so to speak, is a great place to be in. And so hopefully we will have some drill intercepts for y'all here shortly, and hopefully some assays that look quite good thereafter. I'm going to end a little bit early and open it up for questions, but thank you for your attention. Again, this is Barksdale Resources. We trade on the TSX.V under the symbol BRO and on the OTCQX, BRKCF.
Fantastic. Awesome. Rick, great presentation. I have a question for you, but I'm going to open it up to the audience as well. Do we have any questions for Rick and about the Sunnyside project?
Thanks.
No? I have one. Can you summarize the tool program for us? Like, how many meters, how many holes, what's the plan? How are you planning to use the results?
Those are all great questions, Kai.
Thank you, I know.
And I don't have great answers for you. It's all going to depend on ultimately how the drilling program goes. So our goal is to have 16,000 meters drilled into this project, probably by next summer. How that manifests is going to be based on the drilling. So our current plan is to drill a series of mother holes and then have wedge holes that come off of them as daughters. And so the number of holes is ultimately going to be predicated on how successful that program is. So that we'll understand what the cost and time is for drilling those initial holes, and then after we do a wedge or two, we'll have the cost and time to get those holes done, and then we'll do a comparison. So once we have a couple in the back pocket, so to speak, then we'll be able to forecast what the rest of the program and the drill times and all those types of things looks like. But we're a bit, as I said, I expected the drilling to be going faster now. So if I had used my old estimates, I'm going to be wrong. So, yeah.
No, fantastic. You're in the south of Arizona. I've been through the project, but weather-wise, water, snow is obviously not an issue. So seasonality is not.
Yeah, we might get the odd snow here or there that would shut us down for a day or two. The biggest timing that's sensitive for us is the monsoon season, which we're past now, but that's when a lot of lightning storms come through in the afternoons. And where there's lightning, you have a big giant steel mast on a drill rig sticking up in the air. You got to get the people away. So that would probably be the most sensitive time.
Fantastic. So when do you expect first assays?
First assays, probably in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Good stuff. That's exciting.
Assay labs in Arizona are much better than in Canada.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Rick, thank you so much. And thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks.
And thanks so much.
Okay.